Thanks, guys, and thanks for everybody being on. Appreciate it. We've had 4 practices. Really excited about how we've gone out and taken the field. The physicalness, I think the competition and the effort, being physical has been something that we've really tried to keep getting out of our players, and that's part of who we are, our toughness. Being able to do some fundamental things that are important at every position, but particularly, and I think I mentioned this, we got a lot of young players who missed a lot of development, and because of COVID and just the different protocols that you had last spring, obviously, and then in the fall. So really pleased with how those guys are coming along, particularly those younger guys. So everything to this point, I think we're pleased with, but you're judged by what you do daily. So we'll have good meetings today.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. We'll open up for questions, and we'll begin with Paul.
Hey, Coach. Beg your pardon. What is it that you're looking for in the Aztec position?
We were really, having DJ, you get spoiled a little bit. The young man who played the year before, DJ did, I don't remember his name, 33, I think. Yes. You had 2 pretty good guys there that really had a great feel. From being in between a linebacker and being a safety. And really, I think it takes some guys, you're looking for guys who have a natural instinct. You want instinctive football players, and I think those 2 guys really did that. I think Pat McMorris, who started and played against Nevada when DJ had to miss, I really think he has that ability. I think he has that burst. And so as we go through spring, we'll identify those guys. And now and then, one of your safeties is a guy who could do a good job. Trenton Thompson and Alubi, Sagoon Alubi really have that instinct also.
And talking with your 2 coordinators this past week, they both mentioned players that have a lot of versatility on the offense and on the defense. What kind of versatility is it just specific to a player, or is that something that begins in recruiting and how you look at and evaluate high schoolers?
Well, I think, the lifeblood of your program is your recruiting and the character of the guys that you recruit, the different from athleticism to what meets our standard. We want longer guys up front defensively, guys who have some length to them. I think, you see that with Cam and how he plays, and Keyshawn. They both have great length to them, which is a plus. I would say position by position, there's certain aspects that we look for.
The last question for me, could you just give us an update on the quarterback competition and how everyone is progressing there?
Really, really happy. I think from Jordan to Lucas and how he's performed in Jalen. Obviously a little bit of a head start for Jordan and Lucas from being here in the fall. And then I think Jalen's done a nice job of getting himself comfortable and really being able to, manage the offense right now. But I think once you get to know how to manage it, then I think you become more of a playmaker.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Paul. We'll go to Lee.
Hey, Brady, how critical is it to be able to have all 15 outdoor practices lumped together, not have any interruptions, not have to go back and reteach? This is really important that you be able to get through this whole thing in one quadrant.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt, and I think it helps when you go from your installations offensively, defensive, and in the kicking game, for what you want to do and the execution that you want to do it with. And then also, I think, one thing about players, from being fundamentally sound and playing with good technique, I mean, that's a daily thing. I mean, we've got to, on our off days when we're grading the film and we're going through, what we did the day before, us being good coaches and keep, really concentrating and teaching what we see on the film. So the next day, if it needs to be improved, it's improved. If we can take it to a next level, Lee, we'll take it to the next level.
And Maiden's been away from this for so long. Is it timing that he needs to get used to after he gets used to the playbook? I mean, how do you resuscitate the quarterback who's been on the sidelines for such a chunk of time?
Well, I think reps. I think how many reps he can get. And I think Jeff's done a really good job with keeping the reps even. But I think in just the meetings that Jeff will have with him individually, and then, the pre-practice time and post-practice, trying to get him a little better, acclimated to everything we want.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Lee. We go to Kirk.
Hey, Brady, have any players jumped out at you or surprised you in the first week that you might not have expected?
I would say, Jalen Armstead, who, if you remember, I believe it was the Colorado State game. We had to count on him because we had some guys get dinged up in the backfield. And at that time, I felt real good about trying to run the clock out and do all that with him carrying the football. And I just think that he's growing up a little bit. His body's changing a little bit, like what he's done so far. From a defensive perspective, I think some of the younger guys, Nasir Sims as an inside player, I think he's gotten better. I think he's maturing, which is what he needed to do. So I think there's, if I tried to go through them all, Kirk, I don't think I'd hit them all, but I do like the progress that we've made.
Okay. And have there been any injuries of note in the first week?
No, just the normal nicked up. You get a little nicked up here and there.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Kirk. We'll go to John.
Coach, we talked to both of your coordinators over the last week, and I think they both said that it feels kind of like night and day from spring 2020 to spring 2021. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I would say so. Probably not as much as those guys because of them getting familiar with the players. But, it's great to be out there, John. It's great to be able to, we went 2 days with helmets, and I liked how we practiced. We practiced like we had full pads on besides taking guys to the ground. But, I like the effort. I like the fundamentals, and I like how they've one thing about a team, in my opinion, how they take the field. When we're going through our rotations, how they take the field, how they come off the field. I think that's always something important.
Having 15 practices, when you think back on last year, you didn't have that, and now you'll have that opportunity this year. What difference could that make in your estimation? Well,
I think it's huge. I think, again, John, and I'll go back, for the development of the younger players. There's some guys, Cam Thomas has played a lot of snaps here. Zach Thomas has played a lot of snaps. We want to continue to improve them, but we've got a lot of players, young players, who we're going to count on that those guys will need more snaps. So as we go through spring, we'll take care of some of those vets who have played a lot of football.
And then lastly, what do you make of the new Aztec Stadium hype video? Have you seen the new video with the flyover?
Yeah, I tell you what, that is going to be awesome, and I think I got a little jealous too because watching a game from some of those suites and all those kind of things, that's going to be a heck of a setup. And Kirk, you'll be up there. We know.
Thanks, Brady.
Thanks, John. We'll go back to Paul.
Hey, Coach, what is it that you're hoping to accomplish over the last handful of practices, last couple weeks of spring ball?
Yeah, well, I think number one, we you know, at some point here we'll have a pretty good couple scrimmages, game-like situations in the kicking game. We're going to do some of that on Friday. Right now, we're doing a lot of situational football. You know, we've got to be better in the red zone, offensively and defensively. So we've got an emphasis there. You know, we want to be able to run the football. So we've got an emphasis in our what we call inside drill and, you know, just smash mouth football. And so those things are things that we want to do. And then, you know, we'll have at least 2 scrimmages that will make as game-like as possible. If we have to manufacture a couple of those situations, we'll do that.
And then you mentioned Armstead. He's a bigger back, right? Does he bring an element of physicality to that running back group that maybe the rest of them kind of don't have just because he has that size?
Yeah, well, yeah, he's bigger. You know, now I do think, you know, Keegan Williams and I think Greg Bell are physical backs also. But you're right, Paul. He's a bigger guy. Probably needs to do what I need to do is maybe 2 to 5 pounds. You know, take off, but I probably need more than 5. But you know, I think that will help him. And but I'm really impressed with how he really started making advances in the fall, but now getting a little bit more time to carry the football.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Paul. Back to Lee.
Hey, Brady, down at Petco Park, the Padres are in the middle of getting all their players vaccinated. Aztec football, have there been vaccinations yet, or are they not in that age demographic group where they can get vaccinated?
We've been able to get, you know, between 30 and 40 guys who have been able to sign up, you know, and we're meeting on that today. In fact, you know, on the, you know, truth of the vaccination, I guess, whatever you want to call it. But because we think it's important. And obviously, they're going to make their own decisions, and their parents will help make their decisions. But you know, we're going to try and encourage all of them to get it done.
Have your staff had Zoom calls with family members to explain what you feel needs to be done?
Say that one more time.
Have you or your staff had any Zoom calls with family members to talk about your recommendation for the vaccinations?
We have had we have a parent letter that goes out. We have done that, Lee. Obviously, you know, we are going to, you know, encourage, but we're also, you know, we're going to respect how their families feel.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Lee. Back to Kirk.
Hey, Brady, on what basis did the players who've gotten vaccinated qualify to be able to get it?
Well, I think it's called BMI. I'm not sure. Mike, do you know? It's their body mass index, you know, and more for the bigger guys. And that's how it started. You know, the offensive, defensive linemen, and then those guys who, you know, the BMI test.
Okay.
I think that's what it's called.